Hello and welcome to the Reetin Entertainment Podcast, episode 408. I'm your host, Nathan Reetin Spruth. Joining me this week, we have the master of jiu-jitsu, Connor the Cyberpunk Monk Bash.
I don't think they've. Nobody's ever called me that. Where did that come from?
I'm trying something new. And we have the most dangerous man at the buffet table, Andrew Roa McFain.
I got a breakfast buffet a while ago, I guess, yeah.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I haven't done... yes, whose line, but I was watching wrestling earlier, and I heard some of the introductions. I was like, yeah, I can be mean with those. I haven't eaten at a buffet since the start of the pandemic. But
yeah, that's appropriate. I also have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have, because one of my friends loves buffets.
Is it Ricky?
It is Ricky.
Sorry, Ricky.
Every time we go somewhere, he's like, "We should go to a buffet. That's what we should."
You can get as much food as you want and only pay one fee.
Yes, it's great. I love buffets, but actually, the way that to beat the system, you have to eat like 11 plates, and if you don't, but that being said, you still can get more for your money. Anyway, whatever.
Just shouldn't do that. You shouldn't eat that much food.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. And I always, the problem is I go to the buffet and I eat like one plate of food. I'm like, I'm full. I think that's what happened when we went to a buffet.
Yeah. And I may have eaten 3 plates.
Yeah, I think I ate 2. I think I had 2.
I was still pretty, I'm still fat, but I was still living the fat lifestyle then. So
yeah, it's one of those things where you have to budget it for a week to
Yeah.
I just want to chime in here, Aroa. That's called Livin, Vida, Lard ass. It was too good to let slide.
Good job. I found the name. I found the name of the podcast. Anyway, we are gonna ask Aroa, where can we find you and Connor?
You can go to Aroa.website. You'll get redirected to a different website. That's the same website that it used to be website, and it's got a bunch of links. I think Connor's got one he wants to shill.
Yeah, you should go and check out Rise of the Rune Lords. Clinton's Core Classics Rise of the Rune Lords, that is. That is a Pathfinder 1st Edition actual play podcast. We are pretty darn close to wrapping up, and we're halfway done with remastering Season 1. It's never been more listenable than it is right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of work that Connor is doing. Connor and Nicole are doing. So good for them. I have had nothing to do with that except for paying the bills.
Thanks, Papa Reetin.
You're welcome. And of course, I am Nathan Reetin Spruth. You can find me everywhere at Reetin. The big one is, of course, Twitch. I stream Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time. I did not stream Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of last week. I was driving as I was talking to them before the podcast. I drove 750 miles and worked 3 days and set up 3 clinics. So, I was busy this week. I couldn't stream. However, I did stream on Saturday, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the games we played. And I would like to turn it over to Connor. And what games did you play?
I think the only one that's worth mentioning is that Metal Gear Solid, the Battle Network 2 that I've been playing, trying very desperately to 100%.
Did you say Metal Gear Solid Battle Network?
I did. I'm sorry. I meant to say Mega Man. The one that starts with M.
I was like, are you making some kind of weird thing about that PSP card game that they did?
I was very confused.
That was me just running on autopilot. I'm sorry. Mega Man Battle Network 2. Although Metal Gear Solid Battle Network sounds like it'd be sick as fuck. Anyways, it's as I mentioned, I've been 100%ing that because I have a sickness. The first game, I got really lucky. Some of those card drops are very rare, and I blew through it pretty fast. I was not so lucky this time, but I finally managed to get all of the side content done. And by the time that you have all the side content done, you go to the final boss, and you're like, yep, go ahead and just lay down. We're basically finished. And then I looked at Amin, and that was it.
Yeah, that's always fun. Just looking at the guy and having him pass away. It's
way too overpowered. Ridiculously overpowered.
It is. You were. and that's often how it goes. When I beat Dragon's Dogma, throughout the game you feel super weak, and then like right at the end of the game you get like items that make you stronger, and then you're just pretty high level, and it feels a lot better when you're taking down monsters that should have taken you out, but you're able to take them down pretty easily. They circumvent that by being like, hey, you can kill a chimera really easy now. How about 2 chimeras and a necromancer? And that makes it a little bit more difficult.
I do remember the ending of that game being like, I'm ready. I am no longer ready.
Yes, that is kind of how it goes. We also have Aroa here. What games did you play this week, Aroa?
I have been playing almost entirely this game that came out a while ago, I think, called Luck Be a Landlord. And it's they're actually releasing a mobile version in like 4 days, just coincidentally. I love this game. It is very simple. It is essentially a deck building roguelike, except it's in the format of a slot machine.
Okay.
So every time you spin, there are symbols on the slot machine that have various effects. And you spin, all the symbols on the screen's effects trigger, and then you get to add a new symbol. And you have so many spins to get enough money to pay your rent for the month.
Oh.
And the amount of rent goes up every time you pay rent. And you have to get through 12 months worth of rent.
So you live in America. That's
yeah.
That's how it's going.
So like initially I was like, I don't understand how this is supposed to, like, I don't get it. Like, this is purely luck driven. And the more that I played it, the more that I realized this is not luck driven. This is almost like a slightly deeper version of like Vampire Survivors style of like, really what you need to do is be flexible enough to pick symbols that synergize with each other and not get yourself stuck in like one particular mindset, because you can only pick between 3 different symbols and they're all random. So like if you start out with the idea that, well, I'm going to go for the Eldritch Horror or cultist build from the beginning, you're going to fuck yourself. What you got to do is just take things as they come. And next thing you know, I found out that once you beat the game the first time, you unlock another floor where there's a modifier added. And now I'm on floor 6. And I'm currently on month 15 because the build that I am using currently is fucking ridiculous. And I'm making like $1,000 every spin, and it's really fun. And yeah. And it just introduced a new system called Essences that I've never seen before, and they're like mega OP items. So that's even fucking cooler. And like, there's plenty of space for a lot more floors. So I don't know how deep this game goes, but man, was it worth the like not $10. I don't know how much it was, but it wasn't $10. And I already have pre-ordered the mobile version. So
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that you are enjoying that game. I think I would hate it. I hate paying rent. Absolutely hate it.
Do you not like gambling either? Because that's.
I enjoy gambling for like half an hour, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And I actually get pretty lucky when I go gambling, but
that's a bad mindset to have.
I then quit. So like, oftentimes I'll have a budget, so I'll have $20, and I'll say I'm gonna do this, and then I'll get one lucky hit and get up to $40, and then just quit instead of keep going.
Did someone say lucky hit?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good.
That's Connor's
way to do
trigger.
it.
That's Connor's trigger. He's gonna leave and play Shenmue now.
How about another game of lucky hit?
No. like to give just to summarize how this game plays out. But my current build, I have one eldritch creature, which throughout the game I had been collecting these hexes, and the hexes are like trade-off items. So you get a hex, and there's like one that has a 30% chance of making it to where you don't get to add a symbol after this spin. But every hex gives you 3 coins, so they're really good. I got an item at one point called Holy Water that removes the effect. So all you do is just get 3 coins, but it also makes them give 1 more. So you have 4 coins a turn for each hex that you have. The effect of the Eldritch creature is that he eats hexes and then gives 1 additional coin for every hex that gets removed throughout the game. So now I have this Eldritch creature that's giving me 21 coins. At the same time, I've got a geologist who destroys these geodes that I've been collecting throughout the game. Every time he destroys a geode, it emits a gemstone. Certain gemstones he'll destroy, and every geode or gemstone that he destroys, it increases how many coins he gives by 1. And now I have this geologist is giving 34 coins every turn. I have a thing that makes it to where cats are wild cards, which means that they give as many coins as the largest amount of coins of any adjacent item on the board. So then they're like buffing like fucking crazy. Like you can see it just keeps rolling and rolling, because I also have Beastmasters that double the number of coins that any animal token on the board gives. So if a cat gets buffed to like give 30 something coins, then the Beastmaster is going to double it, and it's going to be like 60 or 70 something coins. It's really addicting in that way, and it's like I really like how it manages to do that without like having the sort of, I guess, pressure and or time investment required for something like Slay the Spire or even Vampire Survivors. Like it's just a really clever and cool game. And
that sounds like a game that I would play it for like a week and then be done with it forever. But I'm happy
the modifiers do help, and it has like a pretty prominent mod scene, and it's very mod friendly, so that might help too. I don't see myself playing it for like months and months to come by any means, but the fact that this has got a mobile port coming in a few days, that's definitely going to keep my attention in my downtime. So.
Yeah, you're gonna like that because you love mobile gaming.
I do love mobile games. I am a casual fuck.
Yes, we're going to move on to me. I only played 2 games really this week. The first of which is I've been looking for a game kind of like the one you're playing, where I work from home and sometimes there's downtime, and I'm just like, you know what, I want to play a game. And I've been really like looking for an MMO that I could kind of casually play while there's some downtime at work. But I haven't found one. So what I did was I heard Marble Snap is a decent card game.
Oh, you wanted to play Hearthstone, huh?
Yeah, and it's all right. It's a card game. It's fun, and I've been having some fun with it. And that's it. That's all I have to say about it. It's a cash grab, and I'm not going to spend any money on it. But for the free, the part of free that I'm paying right now, it's doing all right. It is a little cash grabby though. Of course, they have their coins that you buy, and they're doing like a Phoenix Force event right now where they're like, oh, look at this! If you pay for it, you get this battle pass. And I will be honest, the battle pass that they have is better than most battle passes that I've seen, because you still get most of the items by just leveling up.
Well, that's like, I hate that a lot of battle passes seem to kind of be pretty like, if you're going to play the game enough, Like if it's a game that you're really into, like it's worth it because you get
Yeah.
as much, if not more than the amount of premium currency that you could have bought with the same amount of money, and you also get a bunch of additional exclusive items or whatever
Right.
along with it.
But the problem with a lot, like Overwatch's Battle Pass, is garbage.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Because
It's Overwatch.
And a lot of battle passes are like this that I've seen, where you'll go like 5 or 6 levels without a single item because all the other ones, like I think it's like every 5 or 10 levels on Overwatch, you don't get anything.
Oh, that's fucking dumb. They should at least give you like a sticker or some shit.
They'll give you like stickers and emotes and stuff every once in a while, but that's like the 5 or 10 levels. And all the other ones are premium. I think level 20 or something. Like, I got all of the items for the Battle Pass on Marvel Snap, but at level 20, there was a card that you can't get unless you have the premium Battle Pass.
Oh, you're saying that the free Battle Pass in most games is terrible?
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah, it's supposed to be. That's the point.
Yeah, I understand. But I like the Marvel Snap one because it's not completely terrible being free.
Gotcha.
The premium
I was
version.
Specifically.
Okay.
I meant the premium one because the premium battle passes, at least in Fortnite and in Dead by Daylight and in Azure Lane, those are the 3 that I've paid attention to. Like, if you're somebody who's going to play the game enough to complete the battle pass, it is worth it to buy the premium battle pass.
Typically,
generally, in those 3 games specifically, it absolutely is, like, beyond any doubt, because you're getting as much as you would have by just straight up buying premium currency. And then additional items on top of that. So you might as well.
And I don't actually mind Battle Pass. I'm still never going to buy a Battle Pass. I've never bought one. And I've just fundamentally am against paying for Battle Passes. I don't know why.
I buy the Azure Lane one. I'm not going to lie. I've been tempted to buy the Fortnite one, but I know I'm not going to play Fortnite enough to get all the items, so it's dumb.
But I don't mind the Battle Pass in Marvel Snap, and the premium Battle Pass would probably be helpful. Because, again, like every once in a while, there's like a card that you can't get. Plus, if you pay for the Phoenix Force stuff, you get extra cards from that and all that jazz.
Are they just like kind of like the gold skin cards in Hearthstone where they just add like cool animations, or you're not like earning additional power, are you?
I think I haven't played enough to know, because you unlock cards as you level up. Like, they give you daily missions.
Yeah.
And you can unlock, as you do the daily missions, you level up your cards, and then you get new cards because of that. But I don't know if, like, these cards can be earned in another way. Like, I don't know if the Phoenix Force cards are only there with purchasing them with real money. So I haven't looked into that enough. I would hope that it was, as you were saying, where there's variants, which there are variants. Like, they have like the nice, fully illustrated ones, and then they have like a variant that's like a chibi version or whatever.
And because they have one. I've watched somebody play it a little bit, and I know they have some cards where they're like in Hearthstone with the gold ones, where they do like weird pseudo 3D animations and stuff on the really fancy cards. So
yeah, and you can level up the cards by getting points and then boosters, and you're able to level up the cards that way. And each card has one of those like gold variants. You just have to pay like 400 in-game currency that you earn through the game. Anywho's. The other game that I played, we're going to move away from that because I already spoke about Marvel Snap way more than I wanted to.
Sorry.
We're going to move on to the next game I played on Monday and Tuesday and Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. I played Shadowrun Dragonfall, which I would say is a lot better. And I know Connor's played through it. It's a lot better than Shadowrun Returns.
Way better. Shadowrun Returns is a good game, but it also kind of feels like a proof of concept sometimes.
It really does. They add in, instead of getting cybernetics, you can get biotech. Is that what it's BioWare? I was like, it's BioWare, but that's the name of a game company. But yes, you get BioWare.
That is a happy coincidence.
Yes. So I played it. I had fun. I played a character I typically don't. I try to mix it up when I play a game. I don't want to just go in as a barbarian in every game and just hit things with an axe. So I did an adept. Something adept.
Physical adept.
Yeah, physical adept. And I threw shurikens. And let me tell you, that's awesome. It's great. Being able, because when you throw weapons, you get an ability that makes people, like the opposing teams, AP go down when you hit them.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes I was able to just make them not be able to move for entire rounds of combat.
The usual trend with phys ads is they go into an office, they pick up a cup full of pens or whatever, and bam, they have 50 darts.
That's good. I have like 40 karma, and I don't know what to do in our game that I'm playing. I seriously I haven't had time to look in to see, like, okay, I want to put points into this. I'm just gonna switch to physical adept with lockdown. That's what I'll do. I'll just lock everyone down. No, I'll take out that camera. Just throw a pen at it. No. So it's fun, and I ended up just being like, okay. So yesterday, it was a Saturday, and I hadn't seen my girlfriend in a while. So I was like, we should go to the movies. You want to watch the new Indiana Jones? And I am willing to sit through it for 3 hours.
Ooh, that's a long movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long it is, but 2.5 hours.
I think it was 2.5.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2.5. But I'm willing to sit there and watch the movie. It'll probably be fine. I know the reviews aren't great, but it'll probably be fine. But my girlfriend had some stuff happen. And by stuff happen, I mean her mom called her for like an hour, and her friend wanted to talk on the phone for like half an hour. And once my girlfriend got off, well, here's the thing.
You specified, because when you say had some stuff happen, I'm like, oh
no, just people were talking to her, and she hung up the phone, and she's like, I don't want to talk to anyone today, and so she didn't want to. Yeah, she didn't want to go to the movies, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I ended up being like, well, I have nothing to do right now. My whole plan was to try to do something with my girlfriend. So now I'm going to play Shadowrun for 4 hours, and I ended up beating the game. It's a good game.
Right on.
I
like it.
Spoil it. How old is it? It's a few years old now. I'm going to spoil it.
It's old enough to spoil, I think.
I saved the dragon at the end.
Yeah, Fleisch was a cool dude.
I don't know. Even though the bad guys made a compelling argument, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that committing genocide is a good idea. That's
so the one rule of never ever cutting a deal with a dragon. You broke the one rule.
I broke the one rule. I not only that, but I broke it twice. Because you can renege on the deal. You can be like, nah, I don't want to do that. But I'm like, nah, I'm totally following through with this. I'm a man of my word. And
I think I also saved the dragon when I played through it, because evil guy was a dick.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Anyway, it was a good game, and I don't know what game I'm going to play through next. I'm leaning towards Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh.
I've heard some good things about that. That releases, I believe, August 3rd, so a couple weeks from now.
I think someone in the Discord was talking about that.
That was Nick Lotus. Yep. And they were talking in the Discord about it. And
my understanding is that it's basically like the way that the game plays is they took their previous game, Divinity Original Sin 2. They took that and then just made it like a little closer to actual D&D rules.
Oh, so it should be fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. I have heard really good things about it. I'll figure it out. I'm actually thinking about playing a bard, but we'll see. we will see what I decide to play as on that, if I decide to pick it up when it releases on August 3rd. We are going to move on to talk about some news stories. The big one, we'll just start up with the big one at the beginning. Microsoft and Activision have been approved to join forces in the United States of America.
Well, assuming that the appeal from the FTC doesn't go through, which it probably won't.
Yeah, there's an appeal from the FTC, and the problem is, I think part of it is that Sony and the FTC had really bad arguments for why it should not go through. As in, there has been reports recently that in the court filings, you had Sony complaining about, oh, well, Microsoft is going to make games exclusive and stuff. And in the discovery, they found out that Sony was trying to make a ton of games exclusive to PlayStation.
Yep.
And Sony was just like, well, yeah, but come on. And what about that Final Fantasy game that just came out? Come on.
And I read something about how, like, Activision tried to make Call of Duty exclusive to Battle.net, their launcher.
Ooh.
And it ended up being like the worst thing that they had done for the franchise in a long time, and that's why it's on Steam now.
Yeah, that's what happened with EA and Origin stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, we're only launching an Origin, and they're like, no, you're not.
I love, in a way, like, I don't like that this merger is necessarily happening just on the basis of it just seems like bad capitalism. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's really funny that Microsoft is like, look, Activision doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, this whole talk of exclusive shit, look at what happens when you make exclusives. It's terrible. No, we just want money. Come on.
I mean, I would... Here's pulling back. I would feel worse if it was just... Like, okay, let's say Sony was in the position where they were buying Activision. And it was rumored that Call of Duty and other games were going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. I would be like, that kind of sucks. Because while I own a PlayStation 5, not everyone owns a PlayStation 5. However, with even an exclusive, like they're like, oh, it's going to be an Xbox exclusive, the game's still coming to PC. So it's not strictly exclusive. Because it's you're still going to be able to play it. Now, and they've already said Call of Duty and some other games are going to be able to be on... Well, and we'll talk about that. But Microsoft made the offer of saying, "Hey, we're gonna put it on Switch. We're gonna put it on PS5 for at least 10 years. That's the agreement. And then after 10 years, we'll discuss that." And Sony rejected that because they wanted to sue and stop this from happening. And apparently, that plan fell through. The FTC, of course, as you said, is appealing, but that is probably just going to be shot down as well, which means Activision Blizzard is probably just gonna merge for $69 billion. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
That's I think when you have the ability, even as a corporation, to spend $60-something billion on
anything.
an item, on anything. Maybe capitalism has run wild a little bit too much. Just a little bit. What are your thoughts on this, Connor? Do you have any yays or nays on the Microsoft Activision deal?
I feel like the more that you look into it, the more that the companies trying to get exclusivity are doing it for, I don't want to say nefarious, but non-consumer friendly purposes.
Yeah,
And,
that's how it
like
goes.
Aroa said, mentioned with the Blizzard browser, like it was actively hurting their sales doing that. But no, it's our game. We'll put it on our platform.
And I don't
Even though
necessarily...
you're losing money, that's the part that makes the most not sense at all, the least amount of sense at all, is like you're making these decisions knowing full well you are like limiting the total market dip that you will have. I don't understand why these people get these decisions approved.
Well, I think the idea is, hey, if we have this exclusive to Xbox, and since Microsoft will then own, they'll own Call of Duty or whatnot. If we make this exclusive to Xbox or PC, then we get 100% of the profits instead of having to share 20 to 50% of the profits with Sony. And even though the sales might go down, you're not going to have as many people buying the game. You're still going to be able to get as much or more profit because you don't have that to pay the other person for selling the game on their console.
Yeah, and fuck the consumer. They don't have an Xbox. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. That's and let's be fair. The cheapest way to get into the newest consoles is the Xbox Series S. Even though it's not great, it's still what, $200 you can get it on sale. And
Maybe.
Steam Deck, if you're like entry level looking for getting into gaming, it'll do whatever you need it to.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's true. Like that was what I was going to say before, and what you sort of said, Nathan, was that Microsoft is in a weird position where they don't really own two platforms, but they basically own two platforms where like they can be like, well, it's not exclusive to just Xbox. Like people who play on PC can get our games too. And like, who doesn't own a PC? Like, we're not limiting the market availability of these games by buying this company that makes a lot of games.
yeah,
Because the only people who are left out are people who solely own a PS5, which, to be fair to Microsoft in some limited way, is not going to be very many people just by the virtue of you can't fucking buy a PS5 still, and it's been out for 3 years.
Yes. Well, also, they can make the argument that if you get Game Pass Ultimate, you get xCloud, and you can play your Xbox games on wherever you want. And I'm not saying it's a good argument. I'm saying it is an argument they can make.
Yeah, but that's still a platform that they own. Like they control that. And the idea is if Microsoft owns this I don't know what you'd call it, the supply line, then like nobody can get this product without that supply line. And that isn't necessarily the case in Microsoft's situation, other than if they made it exclusive to the Xbox app, which I think is why they probably made that argument of, well, we won't make it exclusive to the Xbox app because Activision already made that experiment and it didn't work. We can't just keep Call of Duty on the Xbox app because then no one will buy it. We have to put it on Steam, which is a platform we don't own, so it's different.
Steam and Epic.
Yeah, the Epic Game Store is another situation where I would be very curious to see like I feel like if this would have gone further in the EU, somebody would have said, well, why don't we ask Epic, like, how much do game sales get fucked by being exclusive to the Epic Store for a year? Because I bet they do.
Because like that game that just came out, Dead Island 2.
Yeah,
that's exclusive to the Epic Game Store. So I wonder how much, as you said, that those game sales are negatively affected.
Actually, just recently, the people in my Discord were asking, like, what happened with the Evil Dead game? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was an Epic exclusive for a year.
Yeah.
And I looked at the Steam charts, and that fucking game peaked at like 500 players.
Yeah, I have it.
There you go.
I have it on the Epic Game Store, and
yeah, because it was free for a little while, right?
No, I bought it when it was new.
Oh.
I bought it like when it released, and then it like after a couple of months it became free, and I was like, wow, fuck you guys.
Yeah, which I think is very indicative of that game was not selling well to begin with, and then they put it on Steam and no one fucking bought it because like it was already a year old. Like,
and it was all right, but everyone's playing Dead by Daylight anyway.
Yeah, but I do think that there was a market there for people like me and my friends who were like really liked Friday the 13th and all that and wanted something else that was asymmetrical horror. But in any case, like 500 sales is not very good for a licensed game.
No.
And
Well,
I don't
500
know what you,
players.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
said 500 sales, and I was like, I don't think you had
Well,
500 sales, but 500 players.
I mean on Steam, I like the estimated sales is still under 1,000 units.
Oh wow,
Like,
that's bad.
yeah. So there's an argument to be made there for just that exclusivity ends up hurting sales. That happened with Final Fantasy 16 too.
And
It it being a PS5 exclusive ended up hurting sales more than if they had probably just delayed the game a bit and released it multi-platform.
I do think that PlayStation. I think that Final Fantasy 16 on the PlayStation isn't going to negatively affect the sales as much as like Dead by Daylight. Once it comes to PC and Xbox, Final Fantasy 16 is going to sell pretty. It might not sell as well as some other Final Fantasy games, but it's still going to sell pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm speaking purely from the perspective of like if a company is if the subject of the lawsuit is that Sony is afraid that Microsoft will claim exclusivity over these very prominent properties that Sony makes a lot of money from, I don't think that that's necessarily a worthwhile argument. And
No.
Microsoft has shown that by illustrating that exclusivity really only seems to hurt sales overall.
Yeah. And now we're going to move on to our next story, which is that Sony has agreed to the Call of Duty deal with Microsoft.
I didn't even read this. I didn't read this beforehand.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
So I'm happy. I'm happy that for once I'm happy that you didn't read any of the stories. Yeah, this is from The Verge. Sony has agreed to a 10-year deal for Call of Duty with Microsoft to keep the franchise on PlayStation after the proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer says Sony and Microsoft have agreed to a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. This ends a bitter battle between the companies that has been waged both privately and publicly over the past year after Microsoft announced its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard in January 2022. One thing I do like about corporations, and I hate that I'm saying this. I hate that I'm saying anything good about corporations. But they have no shame. not a ounce of shame. So they're like actively fighting against this acquisition from happening. They're like, no, we don't want to sign that 10-year agreement. And then the judge is like, nah, Microsoft can buy Activision, and Sony's like, yes, we will take that. We'll take that. Like, it's just immediately like flipped into like, fuck it. And Phil Spencer and whoever's the head of the PlayStation division of Sony America, they don't care. Like, what they're you heard reports back when E3 was still a thing that they would go out for dinner afterwards. Like, they would just be like, hey, how's it going? And they go for dinner and have chats and be friendly because they don't care. Like, it's not them that's the ones that are wanting to, like, stop this stuff from happening. It's the higher-ups and the even higher-ups and the lawyers, right? So once all this stuff is settled, they're still going to go back to being friendly with each other, which I think is a good thing. And the only thing I don't like is that it's a 10-year deal and not just like indefinitely. I think that, and I know
going to be a thing. Yeah.
And I know you can't do that. Like, it's got to be like a contract for a set amount of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But
because they'll end up extending it undoubtedly, unless some circumstance shows that essentially Microsoft would stand to profit otherwise.
Yeah.
Then they're going to extend this because Like I just went on a fucking tirade about keeping it exclusive to Xbox doesn't even make sense financially.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not want PlayStation sales?
It would be funny if they came out and they're like, we determined that we can make $27 more a year if we were exclusive. So basically, fuck you, Sony. No, it's happening. So even if the FTC, even though the FTC is appealing it, I think even Sony is just like, nope, it's not going to happen, and has decided to sign this 10-year agreement, which I think Nintendo also signed a 10-year agreement, which
I think they did it immediately because I don't think they care either way. Like, they're in their own little bubble like they always have been.
Yeah,
they're selling a fucking tablet from 7 years ago as a current gen console. Like, they don't care about all this bullshit. Like,
yeah,
you can't even get Call of Duty on Switch now anyway. Fuck they care.
Why do they care?
They just got broadband at the Nintendo offices like 2 years ago.
They're still trying to figure out how to make an emulator that works half as well as one from 1999. Like,
yeah, I guess to be fair to Nintendo, I guess those emulators have improved quite a bit for the what was it, Nintendo Online Plus?
Yeah, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not giving Nintendo any more money.
I forget that I have I need to cancel it. I keep forgetting that I have Nintendo Online until somebody, or like once a year I get an email that's like, you paid $20 for this. And I was like, what? I guess, oh, okay. And that's such like, it's
the worst feeling.
I don't, like, my thing is, yes, it sucks because I'm like, I haven't played online like at all since I got that. But on the other hand, it's $20.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd spend that much on food sometimes.
That's definitely why they positioned it at that price, because they know that it's just cheap enough to where, like, your mom isn't going to be like, it's a lot of money, Billy. I don't think we can afford that.
Yeah, it's like $20 a year. And I'm just like, okay, fine.
It's like, whatever.
We are going to move on. We're going to talk about the next story, which I think is one that Aroa brought up, which is that Chinese hackers used a code flaw in Microsoft to steal emails from U.S. agencies.
Yeah, so, like, I haven't really looked that deep into this because I don't think that there's a lot to really worry about from an individual person perspective. I just find this, like, wow, go figure, like, cloud-based anything is not secure.
Oh, no.
Because, like, every company now is being pushed to Exchange in the cloud, with it, which Exchange is the word for Microsoft's email product. If the place that you work for uses Microsoft Office and you use Outlook, you are using Exchange to deal with your emails. And many, many companies, mine included, are using Exchange in the cloud, meaning that Microsoft is your email provider. And they have all of your emails on their servers, and your company talks to their servers to exchange your emails.
Yes.
And so China managed to break into Microsoft's Exchange servers, and
like, are we talking about they're Chinese hackers?
Yes.
I love.
We don't know if they are government backed, but they probably are.
Yeah.
All we really know is that they managed to get a hold of a key, essentially, that allowed them to get into an Exchange server and access accounts for like 25 different organizations within some Exchange server. And at least 2 of those included state and commerce departments for the U.S. government. So they were able to essentially read government emails. We don't know what all they read, what data was exfiltrated, and what other companies might have been affected by this.
They finally got her emails.
But well, actually, no, because she was using a private email server.
So that was actually
So that was actually more secure.
Oh man, if we had anybody listening to the podcast, half of them would be pissed off right now.
But yeah, like the reason that I brought this up is just the more that time goes on, the more that software as a service becomes a thing and everyone relies on the cloud. I know that it's like a meme basically at this point for people who are big into tech and particularly information security to be like, cloud, I don't like it. But like, this is just another example of like, whenever you hand the keys to the kingdom to a company like Microsoft or any one particular company, this can happen. And like, yeah, there's an argument to be made for, well, are you sure that your own internal security isn't flawed enough to where they could have broken into you too? Like, no, you don't know that. But in this situation, you're relying entirely on Microsoft doing whatever they need to do. And I feel like they're a much bigger target than one individual company.
You guys and I don't know how this happened. I don't know if there was like somebody clicked on a phishing email and they were able to get in that way, or if they were just able to hack into the servers, but brute force. However, you both work IT. I'm sure you get the emails regularly from your InfoSec that's like, hey, your Microsoft account password has expired. Click here to reset it. And then you look at the email and it's like from Microsoft.com or something like that.
Yeah, it's where it's an obvious phishing simulation, as they put it.
Yeah. We get that. So we get that. And one of the good things about the refresh we did, about what I did last week, was we had myself and two other support techs there, and then my manager. So we were all able to kind of have, little meetings and team building stuff. But we're talking, and one of my coworkers was like, is this our InfoSec guy just keeps sending this to us? And my boss is like, yeah, that's InfoSec that's doing that. And he's like, can I just email our InfoSec guy and be like, stop it, I have work to do. And so a couple of months ago, there was a system, like we've moved over to this new company, and there was like a system thing that they were trying to get us all on this like call list or whatnot. But we had like no communication about it. So we got text messages and emails saying, hey, sign up your name and email address here to get put on this call list. And none of us pressed the button to do it. even though it was legit. And so like we log on and it's like an hour into our shift and my manager's like, hey, about that thing that was sent out, that's legit, you should probably press it. And we're all like, oh yeah, we thought it was fake, so we just ignored it. And I was pretty proud that our entire team was like, no, even to legit stuff, we're just like, no.
That is pretty good. I'm always, me being the fucking dweeb that I am, I always look at the email headers to see what service they're using to send those emails out. And then I'll send a thing to my team like a couple hours later and be like, in case you didn't realize there was a email scam thingy.
Yeah.
Check, and here's the headers. They're using this company. Looks like we're paying this much for this service. I don't know why.
Yeah, I do that too. I'll look at the headers. I'll look at the the send from. I actually got one today. I checked my email on my work phone, and there was one who was like, "I'm part of this company," and blah blah blah, and it was sent from an AOL.com address.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. First off, get a better email. It's fucking AOL. Come on. And secondly, this is clearly a phishing attempt, so I just deleted the email. Anyway,
you got to click the report button to your cyber department.
Well, the problem is, since we have moved over to the new company, we have two different emails. We have the Advantage Dental email, and we have the Great Dental Plans email. And the phishing button works in the Great Dental Plans email, but not the Advantage email. And so they have to fix that. Yeah.
I gotta change where the button forwards the email to, because I guarantee it's just essentially a macro that just automatically forwards the email to a certain address, and that's it.
Probably. But yeah, there's a report fish button, and then every once in a while you'll report the fish and it'll come back and be like, aha, you have succeeded and you have passed our test. You will not be fired today.
I'm so smart, hooray.
You will not be fired for that particular infraction today. And one last thing, I just thought it was funny. One of our techs had accident, so we got a term notification, and one of our techs grabbed that term notification and was like, "Oh, it's that date. I'm just going to term them right now," which apparently not supposed to do.
No.
Because you have to wait until the end of the day or the next day to actually term them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was bad.
We always
stopped working.
So we
would always set the account in Active Directory to just expire at the end of the day.
See, I'm not smart, but there's also, we have a lot of like little programs that haven't been fucking updated since like 1992. So
so they don't use Active Directory.
Yeah, no. So we have to go into like these individual accounts and disable them because, dental software hasn't updated in like 25 years.
That's medicine in general, I believe.
Yeah. And funny enough, that same week I was streaming, and one of my followers is also IT. And he was like, yeah, so I termed somebody early today. And apparently that was bad because they, that was their day to be termed. But they hadn't been notified that they were being termed. So I thought maybe it was, hey, this person's quitting the company today at the end of the day, in their account. And they did not realize that they were being terminated that day. So they HR had to rush and get them termed early because my friend made a mistake. It was, my friend was like, I feel so bad right now. And I was like, don't feel bad. What you did was you saved them an entire day of work just to be fired at the end of the day. So while, yeah, it's shitty, it's also probably the best thing that could have happened to them because they didn't have to work and at the end of the day be like, I worked all day and then you fired me, which is what happened to me, Nathan, when I was fired from Endura. They waited until the end of the fucking day to do it, and it's very annoying. We're going to move on to our next story and talk about Twitch. Twitch Prime. I'm sorry, Twitch's new Partner Plus, not Twitch Prime. There's too many different acronyms. So they've done some math. We spoke about the Twitch Partner Plus. We said it was pretty shitty and nobody's going to be able to qualify for it. I think that's the general consensus that we had. Is that correct, Aroa or Connor?
I think that's been the case. I think it's just getting worse, but I'm not sure how
becoming
program was.
Becoming a partner is super difficult. Just one of the requirements is that you have to have an average of 75 viewers while streaming, that's a pretty high number, right? But another part is that this Partner Plus program was even more exclusive to the point where you not only had to be a partner, so you have those 75 followers, 75 viewers at all time, or on average, I guess. But also, you have to have so many subs. So you have to have 350 subs. Not just that, but it can't be gifted subs and it cannot be Prime subs. So it has to be 350 subs from individuals.
How much?
Which has got to make sure that sub is $5 for the buyer, and then you have a cut between Twitch and the streamer.
Yeah, it's
you get paid that cut, and then also for being a partner.
I imagine some of the more famous partners have deals where they get paid like not
anymore.
rate. Oh, really?
They used to. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
why this Partner Plus thing happened. It was originally there was a 50-50 split, which is now they're back to that. But then the bigger streamers would get a 70-30 split, but there it wasn't like publicly disclosed that that was a thing.
Mm,
So like because it was a matter of Twitch actually giving a shit about the people who were making their money and going, here, since you were making so much money, you can have a bigger cut, and like please stay on our platform. And
interesting.
then as Twitch got bigger and bigger and have essentially kind of told themselves that they're the monopoly for live streaming when they are definitely not, now they've decided to dump that and bring and now with all the backlash, they're bringing back the 70-30 split, except with so many caveats that it sounds like there's essentially no way that you're going to get to that point unless you're making so much money where the 70-30 split is just kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah. So they already, so they've done some, StreamChart just done some maths in the back end and said, okay, so only about, with the way that it's set up right now, only about 2.5% of partners would qualify for this, which is about 1,066 partners. Out of, I mean, if you do the math, that's I don't know how many partners that is.
42,366.
Yeah, it's right there. I just saw that when you started saying it, but it's 42,366 partners. About 2.5% of that is 1,066. If you included Prime, then you would get a 5.2% of partners would qualify, or 2,115. If you included just the gifted subs, that would go up to 9% of partners would qualify, or 3,820. And then if you included both Prime and gifted, it would be about 11.5%, or 4,857 partners would qualify. But but as we said, even to get to partner, that's a pretty unattainable goal for the majority of people who stream.
It's
Again,
and
you are it's if you have more than, or an average of like 10 viewers at a time, you're in the top 90% of streamers.
right.
You're
But
in the top
that's
10%.
also like that. It's you're in the top 10% in the same, and that means about as much as like you see people on Twitter where they'll have in their bio like top 0.1% on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And that's because out of the, I don't know how many, but let's say 500,000 people who have an OnlyFans account, there are maybe 1,000 that are even making money on the platform, more than like $5 a month.
Yeah.
And that's the logic here, I think, on Twitch's side. I think the reason, at least to some degree, that everyone is so up in arms about these qualifications is that it's taking that old the old 70-30 requirements, which weren't explicitly laid out for anyone, because they were also different for each individual streamer. It was a matter of like Twitch would come to the streamer, or the streamer's agent would go to Twitch and they'd work out a deal where it's like, here, you get the 70-30 split, but also you have to run this many ads, you have to maintain this many live viewers and all this shit. And it depended on which, like, what your normal numbers were anyway. And it was Twitch saying that you needed to either grow this much or maintain this level or whatever. And now they're quantifying all of this, laying it out, giving it to everyone, and then everyone's going, oh man, I really hate capitalization of entertainment. Like, because that's really what it is this is, you're commodifying people in this way, and the general public doesn't like to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking up, I don't see it here in this article, but what's the YouTube split?
70-30.
Okay, so YouTube is 70-30, Kick is 70-30, and then also there's some rumors that they're going to offer like
Kick has
hourly
whatever.
stuff.
Fucking dead in the
Whatever.
water platform.
Yeah. But so the two big ones that actually matter, YouTube and Twitch. Twitch, it's a 50-50 split unless you are one of the 1,000 people that qualify for the Partner Plus program, and they offer 70-30. YouTube is 70-30 just off the bat. Well, once you qualify. What are the qualifications?
Yeah, once you qualify for monetization in the first place, yeah.
And what are those qualifications? Do we know?
They're out there, but I'd have to look them up.
Twitch, YouTube, streaming, qualifications, monetization. Okay. Monetize your live stream. Let's see what these are. The
1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 valid public watch hours in the last 12 months, or 10 million valid public shorts views in the last 90 days.
But that's for...
Oh, that's for regular
That's
YouTube.
for regular YouTube.
That's not for live.
If your channel is monetized and able to stream is eligible, YouTube will trigger ads to serve your content. So I think if you already meet those qualifications, you're like grandfathered into the streaming portion, monetization. But I wonder if there's specific monetization for YouTube streaming, which it doesn't look like.
And wow, go figure that, like with every other thing that YouTube does, it's really hard to find information on anything.
But it looks,
I'm sure that I know whenever they rolled out the new policies for this, they did something on the same level as Twitch's affiliate program, where they made some qualifications that were relatively low to be able to unlock memberships. And then once you get up to a certain level, which are probably those other requirements of so many active views or whatever, then that's whenever you get the 70-30 revenue split on AdSense and all that shit. So because YouTube does have a thing where you get it's 5 regular viewers and like 500 subs or some bullshit like that, or maybe it might only be like 200 or 300, and then you get channel memberships. So
I could see that, yeah. So it's a little different. I think it's to be an affiliate on Twitch, it's probably a little bit easier. You just have to have those 50 followers. I think it's 50 followers and then an average of 3 viewers per stream.
Yeah,
which is I will say, when I streamed on Saturday, I had like nobody show up. Which is
well, it's because you normally don't stream on Saturdays. So
exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. You know, I stream Monday through Friday, and I have regulars who pop in. Connor pops in, right? Sometimes for like 5 minutes usually, but he'll pop in, say hi. I think his introduction is hi Reedy Poo.
Reedy Poo.
And so he'll pop in for, it's anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour, depending on the game I'm playing, typically. And then, I have Roguish Bard, Adam the Sim, Sarah. Quite a few people will pop in regularly because they know I stream at that time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what happens on Saturday, since it's, an unusual thing. Maybe I'll get a different audience that pops in. And the answer is no. Not even a little bit.
Okay, so there's the expanded YouTube partner program.
Okay.
Where if you have 500 subscribers and just 3 valid public uploads in the last 90 days, and then on top of that, either 3,000 valid public watch hours in the last year, or 3 million valid public shorts views in the last 90 days, then you can have fan-funded monetization and like shopping advertisements under your thing for like merch.
Okay.
And then if you meet the other thresholds that I mentioned, which is 1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 watch hours in the last year, or 10 million shorts views in the last 90 days, then you get into the full partner program where you get revenue sharing from ads and from YouTube Premium subscribers.
We actually, I think we discussed that when they made the change and they had that secondary lower level for partnerships. However, it's all convoluted. Both of them are convoluted, but at least YouTube has a slightly higher revenue split, which is what they should be. It should be the 70-30, because it's not like, yes, Twitch is hosting the content, but they're not making the content. That's what you're doing. And I think, again, I Kick has, I think, even higher revenue split, but I still feel it's
until
still
proven
super
otherwise,
shady to me.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, Kick is some kind of weird, like, either crypto scheme or like pump and dump scheme. I don't know what they're doing. I just know that I don't trust them, and so I'm not going to consider them a legitimate platform.
Exactly. And we are going to move on to our last story. This is one that I brought up especially because Connor likes these games, I believe. The Assassin's Creed games, the new one, Assassin's Creed Mirage, is coming out with I think it's a collector's edition that has a shirt that provides haptic feedback and will vibrate when stuff happens in the game. I didn't read the full article. I'm gonna be honest, but I know Connor has. So I'm gonna pass the baton over to you.
No, you pretty much said it.
Okay.
There's an edition of Assassin's Creed that comes with a haptic feedback shirt that'll let players quote unquote feel every punch, jab, and fall. And it looks goofy as hell, y'all.
Yeah, it does. But you said you've used something like this in the past.
When I was a kid, back in the N64 days, I posted a photo of this in our group chat. We had something called, it was like a newbie, NUBY, that is, Feel Vest or something like that. It's got the N64 rumble pack with a wire sticking out of it, and then there's this vest that you put on, and the vest has a whole bunch of individual, like, rumble packs in it. I just remember playing, like, Star Fox 64, and like everything you do, your chest would just be like every couple of seconds with it, and then the battery would inevitably die on it. But I think it's funny that we've gone full circle, and now it's back in sweatshirt form.
And they're totally going to get this working with VR. Some hacker is going to get this working with VR.
Well, I was going to mention that these suits have already existed for a few years now. It's just that it looks like this is finally them getting a partnership with a major company. I will also mention...
We're going to back off here. They're getting a partnership with Ubisoft.
Ubisoft is a major... Don't fucking undermine Ubisoft, okay? Assassin's Creed's like one of the biggest properties in the fucking world.
I know. I was joking.
It is not just rumble packs. I was surprised to learn, because I had also thought that at most you're going to get like some linear actuators that like sort of lightly jab you in the belly whenever you get shot or something. This is actually a TENS unit.
Please tell me what that means.
A TENS unit is what some athletes will use it as part of therapy stuff. They're medical things. Essentially, you put some electrodes on your skin. They're little gel pads. You put them on your skin, and then they electrocute your muscles and make your arm contract and shit.
I was actually going to bring that up.
So that is, they're using a combination of they say haptics sensation technology, which to me just sounds like it's probably a linear actuator, which is just if you've used an iPhone, and I imagine there are other phones that use them too. It's like the
Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Cons. Yeah. Joy-Cons use linear actuators for the vibration. It's just they're little pistons essentially that can fire really quickly. So it uses a combination of those and electrodes to simulate various sensations. How they manage to simulate, I'm on their website. Supposedly they can simulate anything from a ball bouncing and hitting you to being cut with an axe, to the wind blowing in your face or idling inside of a car.
I don't think, unless you're putting on a mask, I don't think they're going to be able to do the face one.
Right, and I also just to some degree I can't see the real benefit to simulating bullet entry, the sensation of bleeding, and bullet exit
Also,
while playing a game not in VR.
also
So I'm
you
looking
mentioned
up the OWO, the roster, their chain of command. It looks like Jigsaw is leading this company.
I I wanted to go back to what you said earlier, where with the TENS unit they have a gel that you put on and it gives you that sensation.
Yes.
Do you have to do that with this shirt, or does it come pre-gelled?
They have gel pads.
Okay. Okay.
So it's
I like the idea that you put it on and it's just like a bunch of gel rubbing against your skin as you put it
Move
on.
me up, mama. I'm going in VR.
that is kind of what it is, because it's like they don't really illustrate it, but just going off of the way that this thing is designed, I'm gonna guess that they have all of the electrodes just kind of inside of the shirt, and then you plug one cable into it, and that then sends the power out to all the individual electrodes. Because normally with a TENS unit, you have to connect power to each individual electrode, and you end up looking like you're some kind of fucking experiment whenever you're using the thing.
Oh, that's totally. There's totally like a wire system inside the shirt.
Yeah, and it looks like you can just like buy replacement gel pads, which I don't know how quick you're going to burn through those, considering you're probably like, I'm assuming you're going to be like sweating and shit inside of this thing, and like those gel pads are going to get gross real fast.
Yeah, I felt bad. My friend came over and they wanted to play VR and Beat Saber, and I was like, I don't sweat very much in general. Maybe it's because I don't go outside in the sunlight, but I don't sweat very much in general, except for my face sweats a lot when playing VR. And they were like, oh, no, that's fine. I'm used to it because I play VR too. And it's disgusting, but you deal with it. And I was like, okay, cool. And I bought one of my friends on Twitter, actually, was like, hey, I have an old Oculus that I want to sell. If any, it still works. I forget which version it was, but it was one of the release versions. But it's $100. So if somebody wants to buy it for $100, it can do that. So I bought that for my good friend Durga, and I was like, they're like, oh, I'll pay shipping, and I was like, that shipping is going to cost a lot of money. Here's $40 extra just to pay for shipping, and it was like over $50 for shipping. So, I ended up giving it to Durga, and Durga's like, this smells really bad. And I was like, yeah, replace the foam. You have to replace the foam when you get a used item like that, but it was $100, so have fun. And it's unfortunate. So I would imagine that this shirt is also going to cause a lot of sweating and stuff. But here's the big question. A, are you going to buy Assassin's Creed Mirage, Connor? And B, are you going to get the shirt?
I will probably eventually get Assassin's Creed Mirage, like when it's 50% off on a Steam sale or something like that. And of course I'm not getting this shirt. That being said, if something like this came out for VR and it wasn't like disgusting ass gel pads that are going to get nasty with sweat and stuff, maybe.
It is going to be nasty. It's going to be disgusting gel pads. But to be fair, I would rather have the gel pads than rubbing gel on my body.
I mean, you and I just don't get fun from the same places then. No, I'm kidding. I like just the one that I posted, which is a vest you wear over. I would totally wear something like that if it had like, I'm going to say good functionality. It works like just on its most basic of circuits, but like if I was playing Pavlov and it showed me where I was getting hit, I'd consider it.
So A, you know how to develop software, I think still. And B, do you still have access to that unit? Because you could make it work.
No, it's one motor
You-
activates whenever anything.
Are
It's
you
just an
talking about
on-off.
the little fucking N64 thing? Because that's
Yeah.
The
no.
one from the 90s.
I want you to get that working with VR, please. Just
I mean, okay, get me like an Arduino and a couple of different motors. I can make that happen. I'm confident in my abilities. Getting drivers so it works in Pavlov or whatever, that's another conversation, but I could at least get it started.
This vest does have support via modding for Half-Life Alyx, Bone Lab, Until You Fall, Beat Saber, The Forest, Pistol Whip, Arizona Sunshine, and it looks like that's all the VR games.
Not
Beat
VR
Saber would be
chat?
nice. Beat Saber would be nice.
It
I
is
think.
surprising that VR chat doesn't.
That's the one I
Also-
would expect this to really work on.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, this feels like you remember whenever like every other month it seemed where there was a new piece of tech that like was going to make VR good, particularly like the little 360 treadmill and that. Like
Yes.
this feels like that to me, where it's like, yeah, okay, it's cool that you made it, but like, why?
Yeah. But that being said, I think it's neat. But do we have a price? Is there a price on this edition?
$500.
Fuck that noise.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I would much rather use a 3D escalator or whatever, the treadmill over a vest that vibrates.
If it
Not-
were
okay, it shocks you. A vest that does CBT.
if it were $200, maybe I would do
Maybe.
that.
Big
$500
maybe.
is a definite no. Like I
Well,
could
and also
see it because
figuring that it's not going to fit on me. I don't even know if it would
No.
fit on you, Nathan.
it would
like-
fit on me.
Okay.
So you saw me.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying you're fat. I'm saying that this thing looks like it's designed for like one body type.
Yeah, when you met me, it was 2016, something like that. 2017.
Probably.
That was when I was, I think, at not my fattest, but I was still like over 100. I was like 180 pounds then. I am 145 pounds now. It would fit me.
Yeah, you're probably good.
Yeah.
As long as you're not too short.
I am too short, but that's okay. It does suck. So they don't offer any additional sizes other than the one that you get.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure. It's just that's what it looks like from
Okay.
what I'm seeing on their site. This looks like a very early product.
Yeah. Oh, and the site I'm seeing is 499 euros.
Oh, so it's more like 550 to 600 US dollars.
It'll probably still be $500 because they do oftentimes have them be like $100 in the United States and 100 euros.
Looky here. They actually have a lot of sizes. Let me hold on here. Gotta measure my waist. Let's see, 53 to 55.9 on that. If your bust and waist measurements don't match, it's probably not going to happen. There's a chance that maybe the 3 or 4 XL would actually fit me.
All right. So, man, if I had lots of money, I would buy this for Connor for him to review it.
I would buy this if I had like a ton of expendable income, because I would totally play these other games in VR and then be a big dumb fat guy going, "Ow, it hurt! Ow!"
But it's an awesome idea, but I think the price point is just kind of a swing and a miss.
It's
on that.
too high, and it just is too chintzy. Like, realistically, any asshole could just get a fucking TENS unit and hook it up to an Arduino.
And OWO is a company that makes these shirts. How much is the shirt by itself without the Assassin's Creed licensing?
No, that is it.
That is.
Oh,
that is
okay.
500 euros.
Oh, okay. Well then, no. Just no, not doing it.
And also, like Yeah, how much are you really getting out of this whenever you're playing a third-person game? Like,
I think
when
a
it's
first-person
not
game.
VR.
Yeah, I
You
think
know
a
what
Even
this-
first
first-person game.
person's like,
This
I
thing
don't-
stinks
okay.
to me of streamer bait. This
Uh-huh.
is,
Yeah.
hey guys, I'm gonna play some Call of Duty. Let me put on my vest. Ow! Hey, like and subscribe. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Except I've actually watched a video like that of Markiplier and another guy just like shocking themselves with tens units. And that was way more entertaining than anything I'd see out of this thing.
Probably. But we are going to call it a day. That's the end of our podcast. And we're done talking about shirts that will shock you. Thank you for being here, Aroa.
I'll make a shirt that'll shock you.
Please don't. And I would like to here's a lead acid battery. And thank you for being here, Cyberpunk Monk.
You may not know this, but I've had a muscle stimulator on me this entire time.
Where?
I was going to ask, but I was afraid.
Where's he got it attached?
Uh,
Mystery.
and tune into Patreon if you want to hear more.
Thank you for
You
being
can get
here.
the video podcast.
We don't. We do. One day, if we ever start a Patreon, we could have a video podcast. But then it'll be like, and Aroa didn't want to be on. And Aroa didn't want to be online, so it's just Reeton sitting there, looking bored. I gotta do this again. Thank you for being here. We will be back next week, talking about some more gaming and tech news. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Yep. I don't have a funny joke for this week.